Amitabha Buddha salutes the people. People woke up this morning. The first idea is, do people remember the Buddha? People remember the Buddha, but do people have the heart to pray for the dead? Ladies and gentlemen, modern and the majority of us continue to learn the stages of Master Cao Duck on the Dharma of Recitation of the Buddha. Mr. Finance. Today the public will be quoting Pure birth, determined to practice the Master's commandments. It's simply that determination. When we hear about this place, we know that a pure mind has no idea. Determination, there is no doubting the will of. This practice is the German wish from the Maitreya. The title is very good. Of the Master. Follow the rules, people. If we are pure practitioners, the 13 great. Maybe many people know, many people don't know, and today, I will say that I am a conscientious man. The Master is one of the great teachers. 10 Germany has a tolerance. It also has a great influence on the pure water method. Here a great monk likes to meditate. Translated, get the great text. Master Sai Consciousness was born in Taizhou. 3 mothers gave birth to him. It is by praying to the Avalokitesvara for Bodhisattva. He was ordained at the age of 20. First learned the law, communicating many things, but in the end he returned. Persistent pursuit of ecstasy and the evolution of the practitioner. I want to go back to the Western world. It's as simple as that, and there are many kinds of books in the world, such as French Pure Land, 10 Thoughts on the Law of the Sea. At the time of his death, he burned incense and asked for proof. Then, he was able to escape the age of 69. It's simple. The great. It's like, what if you say something? The words of the ancestors of the 10 Germans. It's also called clear evidence for you. Here, Master, teach us a process. Please allow me to read to you. He teaches people how to handle public or private work. There's a lot to do, but in a hurry, I did not forget the Buddha. And remember the Pure Land. If people have something urgent in their hearts, even if you talk, sit down, but still silently thinking about, it's very clear. The mind of the Buddha is the same. If you forget, you must always come back. It becomes a natural habit to remember. It's a phase of the Master. Follow the rules, people. Through this process sounds very understandable, and you see what the masses share with the masses. Learning with the masses, guide the masses, it's based on the teachings of the Buddhas, the ancestors of the Pure Land and the high monks of the Pure Land. You say, here you hear the Vietnamese public or private, the greatest magic with you, then our recitator of the Buddha. Don't take the so-called teacher. I've been busy today. I have a lot of work. Must be cut off. So what we call this is that we use an attitude called, I can't recite the Buddha. I treated myself late. Give a reason for the job. Give reasons for this person. The reason is that that person bothered me. Our recitation of the Buddha is AI. That's what we think of ourselves. That's what we do. AI solved. Whoever escapes suffering, we solve it ourselves to escape from suffering. So the outside world is busy with a lot of work. That's what we used to say. Why can they help me? Maybe they can understand themselves. They are polite, they sit and listen to me. But what I do helps me. Who cares about my life? Sir, We call our own lives that we take care of ourselves. It's not the sympathy of a friend, of that brother. Then they can help us, or make up for our practice. Let us not be foolish to take that. I'm too busy. I'm too busy. No, no, no. The more work, the more work. You have to remind yourself that. Karma is like that. The quality of my work is like that. Remember that the whole is always reciting the Buddha at that time. But I'm not asking you to force a demand. Close your eyes, close your ears and recite the Buddha. What is it you say? In a hurry, I do not forget the Buddha. Remember what Buddha means. Honest people have a heart. Be willing and open your eyes. Open your eyes bright. Is to know that? The greatest goal in life is to recite the Buddha. It's about being determined. Born in the Western world. At Sao every morning 7 hours. Every morning at 7 o'clock. You have to share learning with them. A hot talk in the morning. Remember the Buddha, ladies, you have to recite the Buddha. Here is your teaching. I was in a hurry but did not forget and remember the Pure Land. If someone comes to this stage, is in a hurry not to forget and remember the Pure Land. What do you mean by that? This is a top priority. It's the first thing, the thing that feeds our own lives. It's that we seize the opportunity ourselves. Pack your own time. Remember, don't give a reason. That covers up his laziness. Don't give me a reason to tell people. Let people understand you. Remember that people can understand you. Brothers and sisters can understand you. Fellow practitioners can sympathize with you. But impermanence never sympathizes with you. It comes never before for you. It's very aggressive. Using the word is a bad thing. Impermanent coming. It never says you know before the day comes. When you die, you can't be sure you're healthy. Dead or you're sick. Dead, you're sick. What you die for? Where did you die? Dying at home or in the bathroom. Are you sure about that or not? You let you be prepared or not? No, no, no. The impermanent thing that comes to us is that it's sudden. It doesn't tell us anything. It's a kid cold. Accidentally cold blood. So, that's why our practice is the time. You have to try to make an effort. Don't take a reason. Don't give us a reason to be late. Let's break up this precious time. Life to this world, remember the teaching of. The Lord does not teach us. Who can initiate the title of Buddha? If you can recite this Buddha title, remember it. This person is the one who is fully converged. The great blessing of Germany, not the average person. We know that and we're stupid. We're stupid. We miss the opportunity to remember the Buddha. Miss the opportunity to recite the Remembering Buddha. The Buddha means we give up. Let's lose our blessings. Take this time to remember the Buddha. The Buddha is that we are cultivating goodness, the blessing of our grace. This is the same time that we're late, we're skipping. It's called losing. The Buddha says what we are doing. It's eating away. We've lost our publishing virtues. This place is too important. Listen to this part. We all know whether it's private or business, public or private, no matter how many things. But in that hurry, too. Know how to spend some time. Know how to accumulate time. Here is your teaching. With the learning of the everyday giants you see, it's very compatible. They often remind you, it's not forcing you to be a wife trader. Merchant, husband, merchant, all to recite but the Buddha. What you say as, though many things, put it in that rush. We also have to know, a distillation of time selection. Why not forget the Buddha and remember the West? This is another important place. He told us not to forget the Buddha. and remember the West. It teaches us something more. Determine that one thing. Who recites the Buddhas? Our job. That puts first on top. It's because of the ecstasy of the West. The world is clear. In a hurry. But in my heart, do not forget the Buddha and remember the Pure Land. In the West, these two places. Remember the Buddha's recollection of ecstasy. Remember the Buddha looking to the West. These two things have to go together. People who are truly committed. It's the recitation of Buddha because there's no goal. There is no direction. There's no other wish than this. If there's anything that's creeping in here, please don't worry about me. Tell him you don't care. I'm a mess. Thoughts are just Amitabha Buddha. A prayer is just a prayer. Western ecstasy. Don't let a wish. What a thought it's in here. We ordinary people imagine our afflictions. It's full. But we often hear these things. We're often encouraged. What do these things do? Like the West ecstasy. I have to speak French every day. Time to speak French. The wind also speaks French. The birds also speak French, and the water also speaks French. Because the moment to take this magic sound. To bind the bodhicitta. Don't fall back. Bind this bodhicitta, make it firm. So the age of 4.0 This is a vehicle opportunity. So that we don't stay awake. Don't lose your will. In the beginning, how? Open the phone. You should remember. Morning, noon, evening. Sometimes there's a couple of lectures called subtitles. They always post at noon. In the evening to study the ecstasy of the Western world. What is the time? Now the magic is pronounced. What is the magic of your phonics? It reminds people of the Buddha. Remember that Buddha is the magic of sound. Remember that Buddha is the magic of sound. So preach. Sharing this stage was also very exciting. It's fun. Good Guru Guan Guru. One is the incarnation of the Buddha. Amitabha is a good teacher, an embodiment of the great world. It's Master Kwong. He taught us that we can advise one, encouraging one to remind one to recite the Buddha. You can advise people, encouraging one to remind one to recite the Buddha. That person is accomplished the way of the West's ecstasy in the world. Is that you also advise the motivator who supports the future Buddha? Then this thing. I can't think of this as merit reporting. Can't table. So, why are the great? Always be positive. First, try to motivate yourself. Then you are kind enough to listen. Make an effort to stay pure. It is our way of saving lives in the modern age. This law saves our lives. If we don't know how to keep it, if you can't catch it, you're wasting a lifetime. The body of the person who meets the Buddha immediately meets the vow. I can't think of the table. This wish is not a master who likes C.A. Mani, an 8-month Buddha. That when the master likes C.A. Manu Ni to say the Sutra, immeasurable life, infinite life, 10 ways to accompany the Buddhas, with a broad tongue and praise. It's what's synchronized, using the word most synchronized. The one mind of the 10 Buddhas. Not a private idea of the master who likes C.A. Mani. We need to hear this place. Then we see that we are pure practitioners. Who recites the Buddha? In the words of the Buddha and in the sutras they. I am extremely blessed and extremely lucky. So, when we're in a poor environment, ugly stupid, don't complain about your illness. Don't blame God for blaming the earth. Please tell me I'm still lucky. I remember the Buddha. I remember the Buddha because once I remember the Buddha, pray for Goddess forgiveness. This means I am free from suffering. In the 6 ways of birth and death, this life I quickly part, so that I can easily lower the level of sentient beings. Because I feel bad, I don't want others to suffer. Every time you suffer to the point of suffering, Try your best to recite the Buddha, to pray for life, with a mind that has already suffered. I don't want others to suffer like me anymore. We have to move quickly so that the living, to level sentient beings. And in this woman, even if you have the ability, you have the ability. But really, we don't have any power to transform sentient beings. You can't see it like that on the outside. When we go to war, we're like ants. A cockroach, they're like an army. It's stamping us. To rewind in my world and 5 evil schools like this. There is only power. The blessing of Germany from Father Dido. They protect us. Just help us. It is extremely difficult, folks. Because through this stage we have to know that. Remember, there is public or private work. There's a lot of work or a little work, but there must also be accumulation. Accumulate time. Here I remember the words. It's not that the calf rejects everything. It's the right responsibility. As free to eat rice, remember the Buddha. Drinking water to remember the Buddha. Even if you really say it, you sit in the toilet, you silently recite the Buddha is not so. There's absolutely no problem. What is that? Know how to accumulate the time to recite the Buddha. What kind of person is that? The real master. Listen here, the mind is burning. Let's continue with the example of people. Here you say as well as one, if I really want to pray. I see you are suffering. I find ecstasy is fun. Not with your mouth. But that's what the previous day said. Language and action are completely incompatible. We don't let ourselves be like that. We are the ones who tell the truth. Tell the truth how to do it. For example, he said, it's like someone, there's an urgent job. Even if you do this, even arrange the kia, but in my head, I'm trying to get it done. Or while you're working, you remember that job. Simple to understand. Master Kuan said a person who initiates desire. A person whose desire is similar. Remember to love someone. Male miss female miss male. What is it like? Even if you dig dirt, even if you do everything, even if it's heavy, but in my mind, is he here yet? Is he here yet? What is he doing now? What is he doing now? When it's in, I have a love story for each other. Then Master Kuan, let's take that as an example. It's very real. He said that even if I loved a girl, I love you. If it can escape, no matter what you do, I can remember that person. You can also think about that person. Why? Because of this mindset, this feeling. Always put love first. So, this example is very easy to understand. Saying the same thing here. It's obviously the same. The mind of the Buddha should be the same. If you forget, it should always come back. It becomes a natural habit to remember. Often recite the memory. Here's what you are. The recitation of the Buddha. You use the word easy. It's a natural habit to remember. The recitation of the Buddha. Recall the Buddha into a key that captures the thought of something. If you are good at something, people remember it. It's very easy to understand through this language. It's just a habit. Once you start the evil mind, why do evil minds and evil minds arise? You come back. Tissue Buddha. That's a lie. Amitabha Buddha, you are the one who recites the Buddha. I am the one who recites the Buddha. The future is a happy people. Don't tell me you're the future. I'm a very ecstatic person. I can't be evil. You are the people. Extreme peanut. I can't think of all this shit. Urge that. Don't call it too stressful. You're the one who's ecstatic. You remember your hips are ecstatic. In the future, you are a lost person. You must be near the Buddha, near the friendly people up there. You're not thinking. There is no evil thought. You don't have to be evil. You don't have to be evil. Did you hear that? Every time we think of evil, we go back to the mind. Amitabha Buddha sent me to the West every time I thought evil. Amitabha Buddha let me go to the West. Here you talk about how to turn strange into familiar. turn familiar into strange, moving his evil sundry. He's known it for many lives. By the way, that changes. Amitabha Buddha let me go to the West. Every time I think something Amitabha Buddha, please forgive me for going to the West. We get used to it. You know, hips. 2.5 years using this method. The mind receives it safely. That means we have to admit that one thing. Who am I? I am a mortal. But what Master Kuang said is not ordinary, but standing up straight and ordinary. Be close to the ground on the ground. It's the worst thing that's ever happened, but it's the lowest no AI that's lower than me. That's what the ancients said. I'm a mortal peeing on the ground. I have to know that. So this world meets this Buddha title. A place where you can build up merit. Only this Buddha title can I do. A Buddha sign. It's the Buddha's balls. It's the subject of this one Buddha sign. Take your balls. To make the practice, take refuge in me. Take the Buddha phrase marinated in body and mind. There's a saying. If you have a natural smell in you, it doesn't stink anymore. He taught that he was a wicked mortal. My deep karma stinks. But take the title Buddha. Is how much of your merit has accumulated. It bloomed and took the 10. This fragrance of virtue, the fragrance of this blessed newspaper. The recitation is the Amitabha Buddha. Body odor, no matter how bad, but the smell of it goes on and on. I was naturally smelled. But I'm smelly, like a person with a natural smell. There's no more stench. I smell this fragrance in the evening. The smell will be gone. Even when... It says even if Theo ... Even with a wicked heart, but the mind is often ashamed of humble repentance, then gradually it will change, it will change. So what is that person? That's a modification. Is to change yourself back? Now let's not talk too far. Every time without remembering the West, I don't remember the Buddha. What we see is that we see. We are wrong. We change the type. We change the type of memory. Use it for a long time. Let's not force it to be a day, 2 days, or how long, but have a mind to try to have a mind to change. And gradually change yourself into a habit. You will often remember the Buddha. You will often remember the Buddha. That's the stage today of the Blessed Master. To teach pure practitioners in pure birth, determined to practice and remember. Determination is an unquestioning thought. It is a real wish. It's real. There is a real Buddha, really sure. To be born into the ecstasy of the Western world. Looking forward to days the universities are learning. How much dedication of the great, the people in these words, and send in these actions. You see the hip-sharing presentation. Your hands and feet dance, your face is wrinkled. Speak excitedly to be sound that conveys to you. You have to make an effort not to give up this practice. Gentlemen, please read a sectioner. Once again to end the sharing. It's about handling public or private work. There's a lot to do. I was in a hurry and did not forget the Buddha. Remember not to forget the Buddha, and have to remember the Western Pure Land. If people have something urgent in their hearts, even if you talk, sit down, but the heart still silently thinks, that's very clear. The mind of the Buddha is the same. If you forget, it should always come back. It becomes a natural habit to remember. That's the phase of the Master of Consciousness. To advise us, I hope the people here, if I am good enough to hear you teach it, to give us strong will and determination. Determination. This world is born because the Western world is ecstatic. I wish everyone the best of luck. This life. He soon returned to the Western world. Non-tissue AD Buddha.